Cartagena Columbia.
Table of Contents, Cartagena Columbia.
All about Cartagena and the country of Colombia. With visiting and touring information. Geography. History. Attractions. And other points of interest. Dr. Sydney Soclof. drsydney22@gmail.com. 2022. Narration by Dr. Sydney Soclof.
Zoe Phonemes.
And Nathan Koltov. For a more complete discussion of YouTube navigation, please go to this video using the link here. Chapter 1. Introduction to Colombia. The yellow represents the gold found in the interior of Colombia. Blue represents the two oceans bordering Colombia, the Atlantic and Pacific. Red represents the heroes of Colombia.
This is the coat of arms of Colombia. Colombia. Officially the Republic of Colombia, in Spanish, República de Colombia, is in northwestern South America. Colombia is bordered on the east by Venezuela and Brazil, on the south by Ecuador and Peru, on the north by the Atlantic Ocean, through the Caribbean Sea, on the northwest by Panama, and on the west by the Pacific Ocean.
Colombia is the only South American country with coastlines on both the North Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea.
Colombia is the 26th largest nation in the world, and the 4th largest in South America after Brazil, Argentina, and Peru, with an area more than twice that of France, with approximately 52 million people. Colombia is the 3rd most populous country in Latin America, after Brazil and Mexico. Colombia has the 3rd largest Spanish-speaking population in the world, after Mexico and Spain.
The Spanish arrived in 1499 and initiated a period of conquest and colonization, which ultimately led to the creation of the Viceroyalty of New Granada.
The Viceroyalty of New Granada was comprised of modern-day Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Panama, with its capital at Bogota.
Gran Colombia won its independence from Spain in 1819. By 1830, Gran Colombia had collapsed with the secession of Venezuela and Ecuador. What is now Colombia and Panama emerged as the Republic of New Granada.
The new nation experimented with federalism as the Granadine Confederation, 1858, and then the United States of Colombia, 1863. Before the Republic of Colombia was finally declared in 1886. Panama seceded in 1903.
Colombia has the 4th largest economy in South America. This has been influenced by Colombia's varied geography, encompassing the Amazon rainforest, tropical grassland, the Andes Mountains in the northwest, and the Caribbean and Pacific coastlines.
The equator passes through the southern part of the country. South of the equator is part of the Amazon rainforest.
Most of the urban centers, including the capital and largest city of Bogota, are located in the highlands of the Andes Mountains.
Ecologically, Colombia is considered to be among 17 of the most megadiverse countries in the world.
Colombia is very ethnically diverse, and the interaction between descendants of the original native inhabitants, Spanish colonists, African slaves, and 20th-century immigrants from Europe and the Middle East has produced a rich cultural heritage.
Colombia's ethnic groups include Mestizo 58%, White 20%, Mulatto 14%, Black 4%, Mixed Black Amerindian 3%, and Amerindian 1%. Regarding religious affiliation, Roman Catholic is 90%, others 10%. Chapter 2. Cartagena.
More formally, it is Cartagena de Indias, or Cartagena of the Indies, because it was named after the city of Cartagena in Spain.
Cartagena de Indias is a large city seaport on the northern coast of Colombia.
Cartagena is on the northern coast of Colombia.
Cartagena has a good harbor and is Colombia's principal port for oil exports. Cartagena is in the Bolívar province of Colombia.
This is a satellite view of Cartagena.
This is a closer satellite view of Cartagena. This shows the cruise port of Cartagena.
As the capital of the Bolívar department, Cartagena has a population of 1 million in its metropolitan area, making it the fifth largest urban area in Colombia.
There are many nicknames for Cartagena: the heroic city, the dew of the Americas, the capital of the Caribbean, the Muffa City, the walled city, the key of the West Indies, the fort of the kingdom, best fortified city of the Americas.
Chapter 3. History of Cartagena. Cartagena was founded in 1533 by Spaniard Don Pedro de Heredia,
and named after the port of Cartagena in Spain's Murcia region.
Cartagena in Spain, in turn, was named after the ancient city of Carthage in North Africa. When the conquistadors discovered that Colombia was rich in gold and emeralds, Cartagena became the treasure city of the Spanish mine, where precious stones and minerals from the New World awaited transshipment to Spain.
Cartagena was a major center of early Spanish settlement in the Americas, which had impressive development in the 18th century as the de facto capital of the Viceroyalty of New Granada, and as the main hub of commerce and transportation in the late Viceroyal era.
Cartagena became a major port for shipment to Spain. The harbor was guarded by 29 stone forts, and the city was encircled by a high wall of coral.
Cartagena became one of Spanish America's chief cities. It was strongly fortified and often attacked, notably by British forces under Francis Drake, 1585 and 1586, and Edward Vernon, 1741 and 1742.
Cartagena remained under Spanish control until the province of Cartagena, which included the city, declared independence in 1811. To defend against pirate attacks, King Felipe II ordered that a protective wall be built around the city.
A stone wall was built surrounding the city and completed in 1686. It successfully protected the city against an assault in 1741 by 24,000 men in 186 ships.
The streets we purposely made narrow and crooked for protection during an attack. Cartagena's colonial walled city and fortress we designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1980, along with Lima.
Also, many forts were established. The two that guarded the bay were San Fernando and San Jose. A chain extended between these two forts to protect the harbor against pirate attacks.
Towering above these was the Fort San Felipe de Barajas, 135 feet above sea level, and built in 1657.
Cartagena was subject to 5 sieges in the 16th century. Sir Francis Drake led the siege of 1586. He accepted payment of 10 million pesos for not burning the city. This is Fort San Felipe de Barajas. After reverting to Spanish control in 1815, Cartagena was recaptured by Patriot forces in 1821. It declined in the 19th century, but regained prominence in the 20th century as an oil processing center.
The main factors in the economy are platinum, timber from the Atrato and San Juan rivers, coffee from the Sierra Nevada mountains, and oil from the Paracaba Maya, 335 miles up the Magdalena River. Today, Cartagena continues to be the economic hub of the Caribbean region and a popular tourist destination.
This is a view of Cartagena and the cruise port.
North of the cruise port is the section of Cartagena known as Manga, and just beyond that is the old colonial part of Cartagena.
Boca Grande, Big Mouth, is the peninsula extending out into the bay and is the most modern area of the city, with many high-rise buildings, hotels and restaurants.
Boca Grande forms part of a land extension delimited by Cartagena Bay to the east and the Caribbean Sea to the west, where there is El Laguito, the Little Lake, and Castilla Grande, Big Castle, two renowned neighborhoods.
A particular appeal of Boca Grande is the beaches and nightlife. All over Avenida San Martin, St. Martin Avenue, which is the area's backbone, you will find several businesses, restaurants and hotels.
The Pirino Gallo shopping mall is the main shopping complex of Cartagena.
This shows the location of the Pirino Gallo shopping mall.
Chapter 4. Tourist sites and attractions in Cartagena. Here are some points of interest in Cartagena. El Castillo de San Felipe, Steps of La Popa Mount, City Walls of Cartagena, Old City of Cartagena, India Catalina, El Reloj, Clock Tower, Gold Museum, the Palace of the Inquisition, the Underground Tomb, Las Bovedas, Islas del Rosario, and Playa Blanca.
This shows the city wall around the old city of Cartagena.
The main entrance to the old city is through this clock tower, El Reloj, on Avenida Valenzuela. It is the symbol of the city. India Catalina, 1495 to 1529, was an indigenous woman from the Colombian Atlantic coast who accompanied Pedro de Heredia and played a role in the Spanish conquest of Colombia, acting as interpreter and intermediary.
In Colombia today, India Catalina remains an icon of the extermination of the pre-Columbian inhabitants. Her life has similarities with the Mexican La Malinche.
La Popa is a Spanish monastery dating back to the early colonial days, founded in 1607. The Convento de la Popa is perched on top of a 150-meter high hill, the highest point in the city. About 1.5 kilometers beyond Castillo de San Felipe de Barajas. The name Convento de la Popa means the convent of the stern, after the hill's apparent similarity to a ship's back end. Still, it's actually the Convento de Nuestra Señora de la Candelaria, founded by the Augustine Fathers in 1607.
This is a view of Cartagena from La Popa Mount.
This is a view of the sunset in Cartagena.
There are impressive Spanish forts in Cartagena, including the 17th-century Castillo de San Felipe de Barajas, the greatest and strongest fortress ever built by the Spaniards in their colonies. Construction began in 1536 and took 121 years to complete. This is the most outstanding feat of Spanish military engineering in South America.
The historic Spanish fortress Castillo de San Felipe de Barajas majestically stands guard on a hillside, overlooking the city and harbor.
The old city has beautiful examples of Spanish colonial architecture. This is another example of Spanish colonial architecture.
This is a view of a street in the old city of Cartagena.
The old city has beautiful examples of Spanish colonial architecture. The historic old city of Cartagena is entirely encircled by a 12-foot-high stone wall that took 194 years to complete.
16 of the original bastions, or guard towers, still exist.
This is a bastion on the walls of Cartagena.
Chapter 5. The Old City of Cartagena.
Plaza Bolivar is the center of the old city. Around the plaza are the cathedral, the Palace of the Inquisition, and the Gold Museum.
This is the Plaza Bolivar. This is a statue of Simon Bolivar in Plaza Bolivar. The Cartagena Cathedral is one of the oldest in the Americas. Founded in 1586. Once destroyed by pirates under Francis Drake, it has been rebuilt.
The Iglesia de Santo Domingo is the oldest church in Cartagena. Construction began in 1579, but the church was not completed until 1698. One attraction that Cartagena visitors should notice is its Museo de Oro or Gold Museum. It is situated right in the heart of the city, in a colonial-era building facing Plaza Bolivar. The Museo de Oro has valuable pre-Columbian gold artifacts, some of the oldest ceramics in the Americas, an explanation of the Zenan nation's amazing hydraulic engineering achievements, and information about how the native people lived. The Palace of the Inquisition, or the torture chambers, is located on Plaza de Bolivar and is a fascinating place. Over the course of 200 years, the Inquisition burned 5 or 6 accused heretics and witches.
The fiendish instruments that persuaded them to confess are displayed in a small museum. It is in Plaza de Bolivar.
Las Bóvedas were built to be dungeons in the walls protecting the old city of Cartagena. The cells in the dungeon now house shops, boutiques and other businesses. The arcades deep in the walls of Las Bóvedas were designed as storage vaults, but were used as prison cells during the civil wars in the 19th century. Las Bóvedas is a popular tourist attraction because of its traditional Colombian merchandise and vast array of souvenirs.
Iglesia San Pedro Clava was built in 1580. It has a cloister and museum dedicated to the life of San Pedro Clava,
whose bones are exhibited inside the church under the main altar. He was canonized for his work in assisting the African slaves as they arrived in Cartagena.
In 1911, the current building of Teatro Heredia was constructed over the ruins of an old church to celebrate the centennial celebration of the independence of Colombia. Thoroughly constructed in 1998. The Teatro Heredia, named for the founder of Cartagena, is, by far, one of the most beautiful theaters in all of the Americas.
The University of Cartagena was established in 1827. It has a total of 13,000 students and 640 faculty. Chapter 6. Playa Blanca on the island of Barra is the best beach close to Cartagena. The white sand and crystal water make Playa Blanca one of Colombia's best playas.
The Islas del Rosario, or Coral Islands of Rosario, are among the 46 natural national parks of Colombia, created to protect one of the most important coral reefs of the Colombian Caribbean coast.
Recommended videos, Cartagena.
Recommended video, Cartagena, Colombia, a city like no other. Recommended video, Cartagena Colombia Travel Guide.
Recommended video, Geography Now. Colombia. Yahoo.b Weblink 1257. Recommended video, Colombia's geography explained in under 3 minutes.
Table of contents, Cartagena, Columbia.
Thanks for watching. Please watch some more of my great videos.